All right, so today we're going to build a simple page that allows you to generate a QR code from any value, from any text value, and click a button to download that. This could be used for all kinds of purposes, but for today we're going to go straight off of just some simple text, probably link out to some websites, that kind of thing. All right, so I've got a blank page here. I'm going to start by just dropping a heading on. Go ahead and just drop that in here, and we'll just say generate and download QR codes, something like that. And then I'm going to put a text box on here. We'll call that enter value or something like that. Put an input, so we're going to drop that on here. And I'll probably change the styling on this. I'm just going to make the width 100% here. And I do use the used props. You can also use all props if you prefer to go through that user interface. And then let's put a button on here to generate the QR code. I'll just say generate QR code. And the last thing we're going to need is an image. So a QR code gets generated as an image, so we need a place to put it. So I'm going to change this. I'm just going to choose Media Library and leave it empty. One thing about QR codes is they are going to be set to a specific size, so we don't want any sizing on it, and this default image class has a width of 100%, so I'm just going to remove it completely. I am going to add one thing though. I'm going to probably put this inside of a container, so I'll put a little container here, and I'll drop the image inside, and I'll call this the QR code container, and I might put another div. Drop that up here, and we'll call that the value and button or something like that. Doesn't really matter what you call them, but I like to label things and keep it nice and organized in here. And then the last thing we're going to do is add another button inside of the QR code area, and this one is going to be for downloading. So I've got some UI started there. I'll probably want to do a few other things too, like maybe in this QR code I'll add some margin. We'll go with margin top of, say, like 3 EMs, just to give it some space there, to convert to QR code. So just add a little bit of text there. Maybe we'll go to the properties of this, and I'll change the placeholder. Enter value for QR code, something like that. And go to the button, and I'll put a little bit of margin on the top too, but this one I'll just do margin top. We'll just do 1 EM there. All right, so now we need to put some actions on it. I can go ahead and preview this, and we can just kind of take a look at what it looks like. First in my preview, select the page as the root landing page, which is my only page, home. All right, so I've got this here, cool. Now there aren't any actions on this, so when I click these buttons, nothing is occurring. So let's go make it do something here. So I'm gonna go on the generate QR code, I'm gonna go to events, and on click, we're gonna run a new flow, make a brand new flow here. We'll call it generate QR code. Going to add an action, and we'll type QR code in here, and we get this nice action called generate QR code. So this has a couple of inputs. The basic version of it, all you need to do is have a value and select the element to set the QR code into, which is going to be an image element. So by default, it's just a text input here. You can put anything you want in there, but in this case, I actually want to come from an element value. So I'm going to change the input type here to from element, and then select that input that we placed on the page. So now the value for the QR code is going to come from whatever the user has typed into here. And then for the image element, I'm just going to select the image. Now I can change these other settings if I'd like. The background color, the foreground color. The error correction level is basically allows the QR code to have things like it could get cut off, like part of it could be cut off or something if you have a high error correction, because it kind of embeds the code sort of like multiple times is a decent way to describe it. So you can change that, and that's going to change the quality level. High is typically fine. I don't think there's any problem. and then the size of it and the padding here. So you'll enter the size. If you want to change it from 500 pixels by 500 pixels, you can. It's always going to be a square. And then the padding is going to apply to all 4 sides of it. I'm just going to leave those things at their defaults, and we'll just see how that goes. So now on click of this button, it should just generate the QR code into the image. So I'm going to click preview here, and we're going to type in https://builder.com, click generate QR code, and now we have a QR code. Sweet. All right, so now a couple other things I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and center this so that way it's like right in the middle, and that'll also fix this from being shifted over to the right because it'll go underneath. And then we need to click the button for download to actually download that as an image. So let's go back into our project, and I'm going to go to Elements, go to Image, and I'm going to add a little bit of styling here. I'm just going to do it in line. So we're going to do one is display block, and then I'm going to set the margin auto left and right here, and that will make it to where it basically centers itself up. So you can actually already see it's selected here. It's centered up. So if we go back to the preview and do it again, you can see that it's like that. So that's it for that. And then now let's make the download button. Download's going to be really easy too. So we're going to go to Events and do a new flow, and I'm going to call that download image. We'll create the flow, and I'm going to add an action here. And there's actually one in here that's just called download image. And it's really simple. You literally just select the image on the page that you want to download, and you can name it something here too. So I'm going to name it qrcode.png, but you can also name it whatever you'd like. Or you could do like a concatenate, where you concatenate the values together. I would do something like you could do QR code, maybe QR underscore code underscore, and then add the value from that text. The only problem with that is that's going to have these characters in it that aren't valid characters for a file name, like the colon and the slashes. And because of that, the file name is going to look kind of wonky. So that's why, in this case, I'm just going to do text and just do QR code, qrcode.png. And now, if I go back over here and I click down, all right, and then I can just save that, and now I have this QR code PNG file. And that's it. And this is a real QR code. You can scan that and it'll go to builder.com. So that's it. It's really simple. The cool thing about this is, in my case, you're just typing this in, but really it could come from anywhere. So you could have, maybe you had a data collection or a list of websites that the user has been to before, or maybe you just want to generate it for particular items in your items list or something like that. You can have a QR code that goes straight to the specific site for that item or for that product. So that's it for this lesson. Hope everyone learned a thing or two about how to do things in Builder and how to generate QR codes and download them. Thanks, everyone.